You gave me a perfect intro.
Oh
Speaking
no!
of fast food,
Don't do a McDonald's thing.
here's what I want to know.
What?
I just don't get it. Sometimes I don't get the patterns.
What do you want to know?
Like, yesterday or the other day, we trade down 7-ish%, something like this, maybe 10% at some point in time.
You're talking about in
Can
McDonald's?
anyone-
Yeah. Talking about in McDonald's?
The E. coli. Yeah, the E. coli outbreak.
Yeah.
But some part of me gets it. You're going to have impacted short-term revenue. But like, is Chipotle not the greatest case study for why you should never sell an E. coli outbreak? If I take you back to July of 2017, okay, go look at this stock. July of 2017, rats are falling out of the ceiling at Chipotle. A couple of days before that, norovirus breaks out and infects 135 people at Chipotle stores. Mind you, this is 18 months after Chipotle has had widespread E. coli, salmonella, and norovirus outbreaks. And beginning of July, split adjusted, Chipotle is trading $10. End of July is trading $6.50.
Yeah.
A year later, it's back to 10, and now we're trading 10 times that amount.
Yeah.
Is there not a greater case study for why you don't sell E. coli than Chipotle in 2017, Tom?
Yeah, this is not like one lone Barnaby's that won't be able, pizza joint that wouldn't be able to sustain this. We're talking about McDonald's here. We're talking about Chipotle.
I
agree with you.
I don't ever trade news regardless. So like for me, you're totally preaching to the choir, because this is, like I would never sell Chipotle based on news. Let's put it that way.
You mean McDonald's?
McDonald's or whatever.
Anything.
Yeah, anything. Like if anything, I wanted to buy I don't even like trading McDonald's, but I wanted to buy it the other day after hours. I just find McDonald's to be very hard to trade because
How about this one, Victor? 2 years after McDonald's sold Chipotle, they came with their E. coli outbreak. Now McDonald's is doing it all by themselves this time. See, they don't need any help from anybody.
Can you still sell puts at McDonald's in your opinion, or do you think the trade's over?
Oh, I thought
You probably could.
I thought the trade was over yesterday. I thought when the stock rallied back to $2.99 yesterday morning, I thought the trade was over. I like the downside of this trade, not the upside.
McDonald's now, the downside?
I like the downside.
Oh
Here.
no!
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
you
no.
never learn.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
way.
I like the downside because
Correct, Victor.
because
you
the
want to
dumbest
sell
because
McDonald's going into a recession? Are you crazy?
I'll tell you why.
We're already in a recession.
Because the
I
whole
know.
concept of the chicken Big Mac is so freaking stupid. Like, it really bothers me. Like, just because you think you can put two pieces of chicken on two pieces of crappy chicken and replace it with hamburgers, like that's innovation. That just drives me
What do
crazy.
you want them to do? It's
Watch
like-
it.
I mean, it's like
I don't
Taco
care.
Bell. What do you want them to do? They make tacos, and so they change the ingredients a little bit.
And let's
They
just
stuck a Cheeto in there. They stuck a
No.
Cheez-It or whatever it
You know
was.
what?
in
fine. So
there.
let's put
You're
like
wrong.
let's put whatever else they have at McDonald's in there, like a sausage patty or a crab cake patty, whatever. I don't care.
Excellent idea.
You don't know the American people, Tom. Do you not remember when Chick-fil-A
he's out of touch, for
and
crying out loud.
Popeye's chicken sandwich? Do you not remember when there was complete pandemonium over chicken sandwiches like 2 years ago?
Yeah, I
You
do.
don't know the American
I happen to
people.
be a chicken sandwich
Connoisseur.
aficionado, connoisseur. Yes.
Okay. All right, let me ask you another question.
Okay.
Along the lines of business as usual. McDonald's business as usual is selling people stuff that's going to make them sick. If it's not E. coli, it's the 19 ingredients in the fries. We'll get there another time. But
Those
Boeing's
are bad.
union voted 64% against their latest labor proposal, which included about 35% raises, a $7,000
Sure.
bonus, and some other perks.
Yeah.
This thing is costing them $1 billion a day. This is now I think we're 5 weeks in. Boeing is still on its butt. Can I ask you, this is another interruption trade. McDonald's is an interruption trade. Boeing is at 150. Can I ask you, is there any part of you that's licking your chops to sell puts in Boeing here? Or is this a company that's destined for nationalization?
No, it's not destined.
Oh my God.
No, not at all. But you can sell puts in Boeing till your hands bleed, but you cannot And I repeat.
Tony, you like that?
I know.
You like when he says
I know.
those
I know.
even-handed
I almost wanted
comments?
to do this trade for option trades today. My podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. Today happens to be Thursday. Lucky you. But now I can't because he just said that.
You can sell puts in Boeing literally till your hands bleed. I just think you can't. The problem in Boeing is you just cannot be shorted. You can't be shorted.
Yeah, you make way too much money being short. It's a lot harder to make money being long it, but that's the way we like to do it.
Can't be short Boeing.
I agree. All right, my third business as usual, both narrative and trade. The first was McDonald's business as usual. Second is Boeing business as usual. And my third is the U.S. government business as usual. We're $36 trillion in debt. We are going to be running $2 trillion deficits as far as the eye can see. And in the last 2 weeks, this is what's really going to get him, Tony. In the last 2 weeks, storied investors and traders like Stanley Druckenmiller has come out and said he's short the long end of the curve. And just a few days ago, Paul Tudor Jones came out and said he owns no fixed income, and he's also short the long end of the curve. And the reason is the prices do not make sense. They're
Did you ever think that those guys might be
situation?
I have two things to say. Did you ever think that those guys might be short, saying they're short the long end of the curve because the long end of the curve went down? Because I don't believe either of those two attention-seeking
Lewis, I'll say it for you.
They're attention-seeking whores. I don't believe either of those two losers. And you can say whatever you want about Stanley Druckenmiller or Paul Tudor Jones, whatever. The only reason they talk and smack is because they had an opportunity to say, "Oh, we're short the long end of the curve." They didn't say they were short the long end of the curve before it dropped 8 points. They said they're short the long end of the curve.
You did, Victor. I remember that.
They said
they're not attention whores, even though we're on air 14 hours a day.
Both those guys came out and said we're short the long end of the curve after they drop 8 points. Okay, to me, that's gutless. To me, that's just pure PR garbage, and I don't believe either one of them, nor do I trust either one of those two guys.
Okay, so then let's get into a more fun conversation.
So don't give me this storied crap about, what storied investors are? Storied investors are the guys that go out and say, when the Fed cuts rates, and then they come out and say, we're short the long end of the curve. Like, that's the ballsy play. After they've dropped 8 handles or 6%, to come out and say we're short the long end of the curve is gutless.
You know what's even more ballsy? For weeks prior to the cut, let's say you had a show called The Price of Truth at 5 p.m. Central.
Yes.
And you were telling everybody that watched to be short the long end of the curve into the cut before it happens. That's a little bit more gutsy. But let me ask you this question.
But unfortunately, nobody watches that show.
So when Tom Sosnoff goes on CNBC, is he speaking with an agenda? When he talks about his position, when he says,
No.
I think Reddit is going to be a terrific investment over the next 5 years, when he says,
I was pretty right about that.
Crude oil or whatever the case may be, does Tom Sosnoff have an agenda? And if not, why is it that the people can trust what you say on television, but they can't trust what Paul Tudor Jones says? They can't trust what Bill Ackman says. They can't trust.
I'll tell you why. First of all,
what is it? Hold on. What is it about the incentives of Tom Sosnoff versus the incentives of the others?
I will tell you
that cannot be trusted.
First of all, I didn't say that you can't. When Bill Ackman or Paul Tudor Jones or Stanley Druckenmiller say something, what they're saying is just their opinion. I'm totally fine with that. And if they say it before the fact, the reason what I said about Reddit when I said it was, that was before the IPO. And I said, yeah, I'm long this. That's saying something, I like this play before it went up. Like, it's one thing. I don't care if Ackman comes out and says, like he said when the market was crashing, goes, I like certain stocks here. I appreciate that play. Because if you're going to be a contrarian, you're going to go counter to what everybody else is doing. I think that's totally cool. I'm completely fine with it. When Ackman comes out and says, I want to sell, Herbalife or whatever it is, I'm totally fine with that because that's his trade. That's his opinion. I don't care. But when these guys come out after the bonds had already dropped 8 points, that's what pisses me off. If I went on CNBC or some other network after the bonds had dropped 8 points and said, I don't like the bonds here. I've been short the long end of the curve. I'm like, oh, please, give me a break. I always, if you watch, anytime anybody ever asks me what they think, I always say the exact opposite of what the market's doing because I am a contrarian and I'm always going to do opposite of whatever any of the markets are doing. So I absolutely take the other side, not the side that's obvious.
If in 6 months, the 10 years trading near 5%, what will that have meant about those calls then? In other words, can it also be just time horizon that
sure.
Tom Sosnoff trades for the 45-day cycle?
Sure.
And the people that are coming on to speak to a mainstream audience are probably not trading for the 45-day cycle. They're speaking on a little bit longer time frame. Is there also some validity to Tom Sosnoff saying that the bonds have moved 8 points? In our world, that's a huge deal. But perhaps somebody on a longer term time frame where the 10 years only at 4.25, where the 2 years at 2, and the normal differential between the 2 and the 10 years is supposed to be 100 basis points in a normalized economy, that they're speaking to the next 75 basis points in that spread.
That's bullshit. That's not how life works. I'm sorry. That means
what is that? Ad hominem attack. Can you give me some basis?
That literally means nothing to me. That is the most ridiculous thing you can say. No.
Just flat out reject it with no logic.
Yeah, it's not with no logic.
Network. You can do that.
It's not with no logic. It's just like, when you say to me, here, Tony, ask me how the Bulls are going to be this year.
How the Bulls going to be this year, Tom?
I don't know.
Have a lot of turnovers this year.
I think they're going to be really good in 2027. That's so Victor wanted to hear. How do you like that, Vic? 2027, love the team 2 years from now. Right now, I don't. Sorry, I didn't know we were talking about. I didn't know we were talking about now. That's all. I'm just saying.
All right, Mr. Nostradamus over the short term. All right, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
You believe this is a strong economy, correct, Tom?
Well, it's not just me, but yes.
I'm just
him and his friends. Yes. Yeah. One of his neighbors. Go ahead.
I mean, it is a strong economy.
One of his neighbors
I don't like when you say
okay.
Does not eat at McDonald's. Go ahead.
It's not that I believe this is a strong economy. Yes, this is a strong economy. We have virtually
conviction for crying out loud. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a strong economy. What else? How else can I help you?
Yeah. So
it'll be a strong economy in 2027. Go ahead.
I know. Don't give me the lecture that there's something slipped through between the cracks.
Definitely bringing everybody along. It's certainly that's the hallmark of a strong economy. It's bringing
the definition of a strong economy. It meets the definition of a strong economy. How can I help you, sir?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
You can always find stuff that's going to be wrong with that, but yes, it's the definition of a strong economy. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's what it is.
I don't. It doesn't matter what other people say. I've reached this point in my life. I just let people believe whatever they want to believe.
Okay, that's
even
fine.
If it's so far away from the truth, and they're living in their own bubble of confirmation bias.
Live in their own private Idaho. Go ahead.
Okay.
So let me ask you. Why not just put on the steepener? Here's my thing. Why try to guess the direction of bonds? If this is a strong economy and the normal relationship between the short and the long end is 100 basis points, and we're only at 20-some basis points, why not just sit on the steepener and wait for the bond market to tell the same story that the equity market is telling, and what you believe about the economy?
100%. I mean, he's willing to do the buy the Russell, sell anything else spread. Why would you want to do the steepener? It actually has a better correlation to each other.
First of all,
shut up, Pat. Go ahead.
First of all,
don't use logic. Go ahead.
That's not my point. There's certain times when, and remember, I trade the yield curve all the time. But
I know you do.
But there are certain times when I like the divergence in the yield curve relative to, in other words, there are certain times when I think that the price divergence gets so out of whack that I feel the yield curve has the best risk reward as a trade. There are other times when I feel price on its own is really far out of whack. Right now, to me, the price of bonds is way more attractive as a play than the yield curve is as a play. So don't, you're trying to get me to overthink this, but if the yield curve divergence is crazy, then I like the yield curve. If I believe the bonds are oversold, or I think the best risk reward is in the bonds, I would much rather trade the bonds either up or down. I'm not opposed to getting short them or getting long them, depending on which way, I think is the best opportunity.
And I'm asking that I'm not trying to get you to overthink it. I'm trying to understand your reasoning and logic. I try to, I don't know. I look for the things that I feel like that I have the highest confidence level in, and the long-term relationship of the 2 and the 10 seems like a higher confidence interval trade than up or down in the long end. But I'm trying to understand your thinking. Last question for you, gentlemen. I don't want you to tell me who you think is going to win the election. I'm going to ask the question this way, and if you don't have an answer, I'm going to give you mine. What is the hedge to a Harris win? In other words, what's the instrument you buy today that does well on the Harris win? And what's the instrument that you buy today that does well on a Trump win? What's the hedge to either of those two things?
Can I answer for Tom and be Tom's
the hedge, or what's the trade, or what's the hedge? I don't understand the hedge part.
I guess, yeah, let me say it cleaner. What's the trade that you think does well on
that makes more sense.
Candidates win. That's a better way to say it. Thanks.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
Can I answer as Tom's conscience?
Yeah, I don't.
Since we're at all-time market highs, you just buy everything when Harris wins and just keep that going the way it is. And if Trump wins, you have to sell everything. So market's gonna go low. That would be my sound off conscience call. No good?
Are you done?
I'm done. I am done. Are you still gonna have pizza dinner with me tonight?
Yes.
All right. Good.
I don't care what
what my sound off conscience says.
What your political leanings are is not going to affect me one bit. I am not going to lose one bit of sleep over that for the rest of my life. You or Mr. Jones.
Okay.
But
you definitely lose sleep over mine because I send you late night text.
No, I lose sleep.
He doesn't have his ding on it
because the ding goes off in the middle of the night.
His ding don't work at night. Okay, if you don't get a ding in the morning, early in the morning, his ding is not working at night. At night, his ding is low ding. It's low ding, like no ding. Go ahead.
Are you done?
I am done now.
Okay.
But I was done before.
Oh my God, painful.
Do you have one, or do you want me to give you mine?
All I'm going to say is that I've said this all along. I don't think if you told me it was going to win, I would even know what to do. But my gut says, that if Harris wins, nothing changes, so the market probably continues to drift higher. If Trump wins, I think there's a real possibility of a pretty deep sell-off.
Okay.
Sounds like fear mongering to me, but go ahead.
I'm just saying that's what I think.
Definitely. You're getting paid by the DNC. I've never been more sure of it than I am right now.
They are sponsoring Tasty. Yes, they are.
100%, Victor. Glad 100%. You finally said something.
I'm a sponsor. Yes.
Here's the really simple one.
Oh my God, you have a simple one.
Yeah, I have a simple one. Here's the problem. It's the idea works, but I think the price might not work because it's already sort of priced in a bit. So on the Harris win, it's gun stocks. So your SWBIs, your RGRs.
Oh, those aren't even plays.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, because we all have our guns already.
Those plays don't even work. Those plays.
Anticipation. If you haven't prepped already, Victor, you ain't in the game.
You haven't prepped. He's the biggest prepper we have at this entire firm. He's a prepper.
I don't know that I'm the biggest.
You're up there.
I'm up there.
You don't know who we are, Sosnoff.
He's prepping so much he's going to be in Singapore, so he doesn't have to watch it.
That's why I'm voting early. And then the flip side, and this is sort of a public too, but I'm just putting it out there. The flip side is private prisons on.
Oh my God, Trump. Those are the worst answers. Those answers are worse than Stanley Druckenmiller and Paul Tudor Jones. Guns and private prisons.
Why is that a bad answer?
Well, first of all, I couldn't even name a private prison.
Do you know? Hold on. First of all, do you know what you just said? If she wins, everything's fine, and if he wins, then they sell off. What kind of answer is that?
That's a real answer.
That's not even specific.
That's a better answer than if he wins, buy private prison stocks. I don't even know what that means.
GEO is a private prison stock.
Never even heard of
private
it.
prison stock.
I couldn't even tell you a private prison stock. GEO.
I just gave it to you. And then RGR and SWBI. There's a couple other like Axon and a few others in the gun space. But I think those do well for like 2 days.
How about canned foods if Trump wins? Should we stack up on that Del Monte maybe or something like
Del Monte. Could you tell me the symbol for Del Monte, please?
But if you type, I don't know what it is, but if you start typing in Del Monte, it'll come up in the.
I have lots of Campbell's soup in my house. I don't think it's any good anymore.
Ooh, Campbell's soup could be another one.
I'll go out and buy some Progressive soup.
Have you planned like a post-election day speech, like something from a word from Tom Sosnoff about, bringing all the tasty traders together after the election? Like, hey, we went through a tough election season. Let's all come together. Does Tom Sosnoff have a speech like that he's got for his Sunday cherry bomb post-election?
No, it's funny. I like the fact that Tasty Nation is so divided and so diverse with respect to it would be the weirdest thing in the world for me if everybody was on one side. And one of the coolest things about what we've built here is that half my emails are from people that I really respect, but they're also nutcases.
The other half are from people you really respect, but are nutcases also.
But they're nutcases also. And the other half are from people I really respect, but they're the smart ones. But it doesn't matter because I just,
Victor, you're going to come on one more time before the election, right? Can we talk about, do billionaires really know when we're in a strong economy or not? Can we talk about that next time?
No, but
No, absolutely not. By the way, everyone, okay, let me say this. Tony, you made me do this. I'm blaming this on you. We run this commercial on the Tasty Network, and it's one of Tom's, like, it's the black and white thing. He's looking in the camera, and he's given his intellectual speech, his philosophy around
chat.
the world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There is one of them where he talks about why is everyone angry, and I just die laughing all the time. I'm like, this guy has no idea why 60% of the country is angry at 20 to 30% increases in the goods and services of literally everything they paid for, and he's looking around going, "What the hell's wrong with all you?" Put a smile on your face. Get out, get out there. It's great.
No, we're not giving out raises. What's everybody angry about? No, absolutely not.
Just for that, I'm going to do another one on anger.
Matter of fact, if we don't reach certain zones, we're not putting out anything. That's right.
Let them eat cake, Victor.
That's right.